好久不见我的朋友. It has been quite a while since I've uploaded anything on this little channel. Well, I'm currently traveling, and the God of War Part 2 will be coming at some point. There's been many games I've been playing, but just been too lazy to record it. But since I've been abroad, while I'm out of the country, I've happened across Archero. Now, let me just be honest. I've been playing this game constantly, religiously, and from my little research into YouTube, I saw a couple of walkthrough videos, but I didn't really see any videos that were very helpful. Like, nobody was really screen recording on top, giving like audio and kind of like decisions. It was more like text-based, and I figured I'd be able to help people because I've been playing this game a lot. And so, just a little bit of transparency here. I have bought all the gem packs for every single chapter, only because I feel like supporting the developers. I'm not like over here buying all these gems just like for no reason, but like all the gem packs I have for every chapter just to give that little boost, because I don't feel like playing a chapter for 99,000 years. So if that like really irritates you that I'm spending money, well then don't watch this video. You can click off of it. I'm just saying I've spent the minimum amount because they're such good deals. And then what I end up doing with the gems is that I'll just end up buying the obsidian chest because that's the best use of them, so you can try and get equipment. And I have gotten lucky enough that I have gotten a lot of equipment. So the only money I've spent in game right here is the chapter packs, and when they have like the right here on the map these little deals that pop up every now and again. Otherwise, I haven't spent money on this game because I'm not about to just pay to play kind of thing, although you could make that argument that I am paying to play. Anyway, the point of this video is I want to give some walkthrough on how I've made it to the point that I've made it at. I haven't beaten the game, but if the metrics on this game are true, that I'm like at 80%, 87% higher than most people that play this game, well, then this is the chapter I'm stuck on currently, is the Barrens of Shadow. But so I'll give some advice on what I've learned about that chapter, but I wanted to give some advice on my equipment, and why I choose some of the upgrades I do so that you can be a successful player. I want to be able to help people to have fun at this game and see the rest of the world, because it's a very interesting game in that it's challenging, but it's also fun. Except when you get stuck for long periods of time. But it's not like a idle game, because you do actually have to move your character, but you do get to play it enough, and it does actually challenge your skill. Because even with me, the idea of you thinking, oh, you're just paying to play this game, fuck this guy. Well, at the end of the day, even with maximum equipment, you do have to avoid a lot of projectiles. So at the end of the day, even if I have all legendary equipment, which I have no legendary equipment here, if I still suck at the game, I'm still going to die. It's just, there's no way around that. You have to be good at this game. So, to get as far as I did, I would like to say confidently I'm better than most. So I want to help people out here. So, real quick, I use the laser bat. It's at level 29. It's a perfect epic. That happens when you fuse 3 purples together. So really, just by me playing a lot, I've just amassed a lot of gear and keep fusing it, and you just keep fusing it. So the purple epics, they don't have any extra benefits. They're just higher stats. So an epic has, for the pets, has this is the stats. It's the same for whatever creature you choose. I choose laser bat because the laser can go through walls, and that's really helpful because sometimes you have the obstacles and you don't want to get close to some of the enemies that will go into detail later on in future videos. And so just having that little extra wiggle room where you can hit them while you're safe behind cover, so you can do some damage to get them cleared out of the room. Then I do the Scythe Mage because these scythes are pretty powerful, so it's like, you know, a medium-sized attack, and it doesn't go through walls, but I think it's more effective than the Living Bomb, because the lobbed splash damage is just not as effective as just concrete one-person targets. So that's why I choose the pets that I do. They're both perfect epic. I have yet to... I'm so close to getting the perfect epic bear ring. All I need is another green bear ring, and then I can fuse it into a blue, and then have the blue, and then with the two, I'll actually end up with the equipped, I'd then be able to get a perfect bear ring. So I haven't gotten lucky on the random number generator for that. Now let's get into why I choose the Bear Ring. The Bear Ring, I choose the Bear Ring because it's ground units, and that's really important because that's a majority of units. And then I chose the Serpent Ring because it's ranged units, which is a lot of like the flying units usually have ranged attacks. A lot of the bosses are ranged. So this two combo, why I choose it, is because it allows me to better hit basically all units. There's also the Wolf Ring, which does melee units, but to me, most ground units are melee units, so, but they're not all melee. All ground units, hold on, let me see if I can say this correctly. All melee units are ground units, but all ground units are not melee units. So that's why I think the Bear Ring is superior, because a melee unit is someone that kind of like comes up and hits you. So like well, we'll get into the enemy types. So it's better to have the Bear Ring in my opinion. Then there's also the Falcon Ring, which is airborne units. And again, it's that same kind of logic, I feel, in this game, in that all ranged units are... Well, actually, maybe that logic doesn't apply. But anyway, I like range units. There's a lot of range units in the game, especially later on. So you're dodging a lot of projectiles, so it helps to have this combo. I use the Golden Chestplate. It's also a perfect epic. Because the healing effect of Red Heart is really beneficial, especially in later game. You're going to take a lot of damage. A couple hits will kill you, and there's a lot of hits going on the screen. So having that little benefit, that little buffer of just your heart's going to heal you that much more is beneficial. I don't really care too much about the deals flame damage to nearby enemies. You shouldn't be trying to get close to the enemies as it is. But I guess there's a little benefit if they do get too close. To me, if only the perfect chest plate had the benefits of the Void Robe, which I really loved. It poisons all enemies in the room, so you don't have to do any work. They're instantly already poisoned. And that kind of poison damage will stack if you have the poison arrows, so you'll be doing like double poison damage. Unfortunately, they probably realized that'd be a little bit overpowered because this has way less max HP versus the armor, as it should. This is supposed to be like, metal, so it should have more HP. So that's why I chose this armor, and it's really badass looking, making the Archer look like, some sort of legendary hero. I originally was not about the boomerang until I saw how versatile it is and beneficial it is over the other weapons. So for a while I was using the Saw Blade because it's low attack speed, and then the epic version increased your attack speed for 3 seconds after entering a room, which means that especially if it attack speed boost, you're doing a lot of damage in those first 3 seconds. However, the boomerang goes leaps and bounds above when you consider that you don't have to purchase the piercing upgrade, because the boomerang always pierces enemies. So you save yourself from having to choose an upgrade, and then you can then upgrade to something else that could be more beneficial. And then, of course, the perfect epic boomerang deals increased damage when it returns. Now, I'm still on the fence on if this is more beneficial to not get like bouncy walls or ricochet. I try not to get those because I think it waters down the actual return dealing damage, but I need more research into it. I know when it ricochets, it doesn't do as much damage, and so it's almost a waste to get those two upgrades. Usually great upgrades. If you have the saw blade, if you use the scythe, if you use the bow, you want to get the ricochet and the bouncy walls. But with the boomerang, it's almost like you want to skip those. So I only usually ever get those if the other two upgrades in the upgrade selection are absolute garbage. Then I skip them. So that's where my gear is. Now, for the rest of this video, I know this video is probably going to be longer than the others. I want to walk through each single one of the chapters, and hopefully I don't die on these. And, so talents, I have no control over. It's total RNG, random number generator. You level up, you click, it's random. So the only one that's not random, I think, is on your second level up. When you hit level 2, it guarantees to give you the level max glory, which really sucks that it couldn't at least be one more level. But what that basically does is that you get a free talent or free upgrade at the beginning of every game, which is really beneficial. I wish that it could upgrade to at least another one. That would be really helpful, having 2 starting out the gate. So here's where my random number generator landed. I have 15% enhanced equipment, and the time reward boost is a level 5 Inspire is that, well, you can see all this. And then this, attack speed 7%, Bulwark 175, Recover 250, Healing Heart, Power 175, Strength 700. Okay, so that is my gear. Now, let's actually dive into the walkthrough. So, I'm going to give effective commentary where I feel other channels are lacking and explain right here, like from the whole thing, walk you step by step, the enemy types, and why I'm choosing the upgrades I am. Now, every game is going to be different because, and that's what I love about it, is that you have a chance to always vary your strategy if it's not working for when you're stuck on a certain world. So, at least if I can help you understand my logic of why I'm choosing these upgrades, it will help you become a better player. So, with this particular setup, Death Nova. So let me explain what each one of them are, because some of these powers I think you don't unlock until later on. And obviously, I've been playing for like 3 months, so I kind of forget which ones are available and which ones aren't. So I'll just explain all of them as we go, and then hopefully I remember which ones I explain. But Death Nova is when an enemy dies, it shoots out a lot of holy bullets. It's not ideal. I don't like to choose this one because of screen clutter. Now let me explain what screen clutter is. Screen clutter is when there's just too many projectiles on screen and you start to lose track of what's your own and what's the enemy's, and it makes it extremely hard to dodge, and that can lead to you dying, even if you have great skill, because your eyes are just overwhelmed. You don't even know where to look on the screen, where's a safe spot. So that's why I try and avoid Death Nova and Holy Bullet or Holy Arrow, because it creates a lot of screen clutter easily, especially when you upgrade to multiple arrows. And even when you're shooting multiple arrows, if you start getting like the diagonal arrows and the side arrows and the rear arrows, and then you have bouncy wall, there's so many projectiles on screen, it's kind of hard to tell what's the enemy's and what's yours. And then you add on to top of that the Death Nova, and then also the Holy Bullet, Holy Arrow. There's just too many, you can't even tell what's going on. So I avoid that one. It's only if there is nothing else that I can upgrade to will I pick Death Nova, like Fire Circle, or any of the circles or the sword spells. Then I usually will get Death Nova, because it's like, well, that's better than nothing. Because in this game, you want to, here's the biggest advice number one, you want to stay away from the enemies. You don't want abilities that kind of, in order for them to be beneficial, they want you to get close to people or enemies, because that's more likely for you to take damage and then die. So avoid the circular spells unless there's nothing else. So that's what Death Nova is. Bouncy wall, it's explanatory. Your arrows bounce off of walls. For Boomerang, I don't like to get this because it dilutes and waters down the return damage from the Perfect Epic of the upgrade. So I usually avoid Bouncy wall unless, again, there's nothing better. Poison Touch, it deals poison damage, which can help because that ticks damage away. It ticks damage, Poison Touch ticks damage away, and that's really beneficial when you're dealing with a lot of enemies on the screen and you're trying to take cover, so you're able to deal damage to them from hitting them, and hopefully the poison's enough to kill them and finish them off before you get finished off. So in this setup, I'm going to choose Poison Touch, because with one arrow starting, it's beneficial to have a little bit of burn damage going on the enemies. So it's level 1, so we don't have the spinny wheel. 4,021 health. This is level 1, and I'm extremely overpowered. I don't imagine myself dying on this, so this shouldn't be too tough. Yeah, see, they all die in one blow, or two. So the bats, you know what really bugs me, just really quick, is that there isn't some sort of glossary, so I can actually refer to the enemies, or at least learn more about it lore-wise. I think that would just be fun. So the bats, what do? They swarm you. So they're like melee units, but they're airborne, I guess you could say. And they just come and they just get close to you to do damage. The globs, the little blue blobs, they just run sporadically across the screen, and they do damage to you when they run into you. That's it. They don't shoot projectiles. There's nothing to worry about there. So again, it's just more bats, and blobs. We need to come up with a name for them. Leave a comment down below if you would like to come up with a name for the blue blobs, so we can refer to them if I'm not lazy and actually upload and make more videos. I'd love to, because this is a fun game. So I chose diagonal arrows because it's more beneficial to have more ammo. Bloodthirst is not going to do me any use here because I have 4,000 health, and I don't see why I would be hurting and die on this. So for me to just get through this world faster, I chose diagonal arrows, and I totally wasn't paying attention to what the third power-up was. Well, I'm already making a bad guide over here. Alright, I'll do better next time. Alright, these are the rock golems. They move around, and then they shoot 3 projectiles. So this is the first projectile enemy that you're going to encounter in the game. You want to try and hide behind cover until you get good enough in the game that you can notice their patterns and avoid their diagonal attack. It's going to get much harder down the line, but I'm going to be here to help you guys. So this is an angel, and the angels, they can either heal you or they can give you some sort of beneficiary buff, like increasing your HP or giving you attack bonus or a crit bonus. I'm at full health, so there's no reason for me to choose the health, so I'm going to choose what they chose, which is he's offering an attack boost. So my advice to all of you who are starting to play is, if you are going to go into a boss battle, you probably want to go for the heal. If you're going into another room and you trust your skills, go for the buff. So that's like your playstyle. Do you want to play more aggressive, more defensive? If it's a new world, you probably should go for the heal if you're at 33% or less health, because you don't know what kind of enemies you encounter and you're maybe not used to their patterns yet. But if it's something you're very familiar with, or if it's a really easy level, there's no reason, and especially if you're at full health, there's no reason not to get the buff. Yep. So now we have the blue blobs and the rock creatures, and they all die so easy to my overpowered skills with my mega boomerang. That's my Duke Nukem. Okay, that's going to level me up. Let's go over the skills really quick. So this is the circular spells that I say to avoid, because their only benefit comes from getting close to somebody. And if you're playing this game right, you're not getting close to anybody. So you don't want to get the poison circle, and I'm not going to get the poison circle in this case. The death bomb is almost like the death nova. It's actually weaker than the death nova. I would say the death nova is better, because the death nova explodes and shoots projectiles out, and so those projectiles can hit people. The death bomb only is like a splash damage within a small radius of where the enemy dies, so it's maybe not as useful if the field is crowded. So we're not going to get that. So the only option left is an HP boost, and that's very self-explanatory. It increases your HP by, well, it scales with however high your HP is. So for me, I think it's 818. It's 804. So I can't do the math in my head, and I'm not about to close the screen, but you can do your math and calculate what would 804 be off of 4,000, and you can figure out what the percentage increase is. So we chose HP increase. Now, on this level, we had what looks like some rip-off Dooku trees that shoot bullets. They shoot bullets in a cross shape, and so they like to jump around, and so when they're in the air, you can't hit them, and when they land, they shoot out 4 bullets simultaneously in a cross direction. These bullets are pretty easy to see because they're green, yeah, just avoid their pattern of jumping. Don't don't get in front of them, and kind of try and hit them from the sides, and you should have no problem with them. So there are second projectile enemies that we've encountered. Nothing new there. This is, I think, the first zone that shows that there's a hazard on the map, so it spikes, so you don't want to walk on those, you'll take damage. So you didn't see it because I killed it too quick, but in the earlier levels, because I noticed in the later levels, it seems like they kind of stopped this, kind of like towards Cave of Bones. There is a treasure chest on the 9th level before every boss. Now, I don't know after like the Barrens of Shadow if it comes back, but at least on Cave of Bones, it's not present. But then again, Cave of Bones is also like a royal. Well, I'll explain that when we get to that kind of video. But there's a little treasure chest, and it doesn't do anything. If you run into it, you'll take damage. And when you kill it, it drops a bunch of hearts and gold. That's it. That's what they do. And so they're like a way for you to self-heal before a boss. That's it. There was no new enemies here. Avoid the spikes. So this is the dragon. The fat dragon, because there's cooler dragons down the line. I killed it in 3 hits. Wow. Okay, a lot of information to go over here. Okay. Not going to get the Bolt Circle. I already explained the circle spells. Strongheart, I think, is a weak upgrade in any case. I only get it if it's like there's nothing better. What it does is it increases how much hearts heal you. Ricochet, your arrows bounce off of enemies and then hit other enemies and then deal damage. But then it also impacts the damage that the return boomerang does. But in this adventure, it's not going to make or break. I'm already killing the enemies. I just killed that boss in 4 hits. So it's not going to really. So we're going to go with the Ricochet. So, if you kill a boss without taking any damage, instead of getting the spinny wheel with gold, and, well, the spinny wheel where you can get a chance of gold, a healing boost, or an ability upgrade, you'll get the Devil. And what the Devil does is he will offer you something in exchange for whatever that percentage of the HP boost is. So it's that equivalent exchange. So for me, since I don't really need the HP, I don't have any qualms I'm going to die in this world. That's highly unlikely. I'm going to probably take whatever his offer is, unless it's water walking or wall walking. Totally useless. Don't ever get those. When you're in the later levels, you want to be conscientious about if you're going to choose the Devil's offer or not. Because in the harder worlds where you're like Barons of Shadow, you don't really want to take that. Because HP is extremely valuable. It's the most valuable resource in this game. Because the better you are at skill, you can get away with like avoiding enemy attacks long enough to kill them. But you need health to be able to kill them. And the longer you have HP, the more likely... And so the longer you have HP, the more likely you are to survive. And you are eventually going to screw up and you're going to take hits. So it's better for you to have more HP. So in this world, I'm going to take whatever his offer is unless it's water walking. The 2 items you definitely want to always consider to take is not attack boost. Unless you're like gotten a ton of HP boost upgrades and you're like you can afford it. It's extra life, which is extremely invaluable because when you die, you can revive for 30 gems. Which is a finite amount of gems that you have unless you end up buying a lot of gems. But you can only revive once per roll, which is what I really kind of like, but I also hate. Like, when I'm doing really good, I wish that I had an extra revive. Because then I could beat it if I'm so close. But it also keeps it challenging, and it challenges you to get better at this game. So you want to get the extra life, because when you die, it automatically revives you, and it doesn't use up your 30 gems. So essentially, you get 2 chances to beat a world. And that's in a cost for 800. The other one that you want to get is Crit Master, because critical strikes is really important in a later game when you have a lot of enemies on screen, and doing that critical damage can kill them faster to clear up the screen quicker. So that's when you take the Devil's offer. Now, let's talk about the dragon that we just killed. You're going to encounter that dragon again later on because they like to recycle some of the bosses and add like new perks to them. But this dragon shoots diagonal fireballs that bounce off the wall, that hover around from the screen for a little bit. And the best thing that you want to do is not get in the dragon's face, keep your distance, analyze the pattern. It shoots, I think the beginning dragon does still do the pattern where it will either shoot a stream of 5 to 6 fireballs that will bounce off the wall 2 or 3 times. So you want to avoid it, and then we'll do the diagonal fireballs. Sometimes we'll do it 1 set of diagonal fireballs, sometimes it'll be 2 or 3. So just kind of stay out of line, and you should be fine. There you go. Okay, that was a lot just to talk about on this screen. So let's see what the Devil's offering. Multi-shot. So, again, normally this is not something you'd want to trade your HP for, but since I'm in this world, and it will help me finish the level faster, so this video is not 1,000 years long, we're going to actually take the multi-shot. Multi-shot is extremely good skill. Multi-shot, whatever amount of arrows you're shooting, diagonal, side, rear, whatever, it adds an extra arrow to that. So that means you're doing double damage right off the bat. That's before any of your attack boosts, crit boosts, and everything like that. So it's very valuable. So we're going to accept that only because this world's too easy, so might as well. Alright, so these are the archers. And there's two types of archers. There's the purple archers and there's the green archers. The purple archers, their arrows, line of sight, that red line will show where the arrow is going to go. So you want to avoid it. Don't stay in that line of sight. You'll be fine. You won't get hit. The purple archers, it bounces off the walls. So they have like the bouncy arrows. And they take more damage, more to kill. Green archers are easier. Their arrows don't bounce. And yeah, that's it. Very easy enemies. Okay, so now we're on the 13th room. I just cleared all the enemies in lickety-split because I have multi-shot, high damage output, and diagonal arrows. But we had these are not quite the skeletons you'll recover. They're like the mini skeletons, I would call them. They kind of just waddle around, and they'll try and get close to you. But they're not as sporadic as the little green-blue blobs, so they're much easier to deal with. That's all I have to say about these guys. So then here's the golden ones. And the golden ones, I just killed them too quick. The golden ones will split into little two tiny mini skeletons. So you basically have to kill them twice. Or 3 times you count that. It splits into 2 skeletons. Alright, next upgrade path. Blaze is beneficial. It does fire damage, which then burns. So it's like another ticking damage. Fire circle, we avoid that. We'll explain why. Front arrow will increase my arrow output by 1. So I'll shoot a second arrow up front, but that doubles with multi-shot, so I'll end up shooting 2. 2 more arrows frontwards. So we're going to go with that because it's more damage output. So we've arrived at the Angel on level 15. The Angels are every 5 levels. So we're at perfect health, so we're not going to heal. We're going to choose Strong Heart, which it says use restore more HP when healed. No problem. I'm not going to die on this, so it doesn't even matter. Okay, these are the living bombs. The living bombs come in, I want to say 3 varieties. I can't remember the third for sure. Anyway, the living bombs, they hurl bombs, does splash damage. They're really annoying, especially when you're weaker. Now they're so easy for me because I can kill them so quick, especially on level 1. But they're real annoyances because they throw the bombs. They can throw them over walls. They float, so they can float through the walls, which means sometimes if they want to hang out in the corner, you can't hit them unless you have the laser bat. But yeah, it throws a bomb that does splash damage, so you can't really be near the bomb. So even if you avoid the bomb, but if you're nearby the bomb by a few frames, you're going to take the damage. Try and take them out first. Although you can't really choose where the game aims, but you can influence it. So what I noticed in my experience is that the closer you are to an enemy, the more likely the game is to lock on them. So if you really want to try and take out like a projectile enemy, which I highly recommend, always take them out first because they shoot things that clutters the screen and makes you hard to move. You want to try and move a little bit closer to them and the game will auto-target to them. That's some more advice for you. So you see, this is why they're annoying, because you have a bunch of walls. Now, if I was at a lower level, this would take me a lot longer to kill them. And if I was less experienced, I wouldn't be ready to take them on. But you want to take them out as fast as possible. Now, Smart. What Smart does is it allows you to level up quicker. That's really all it does. I think it's actually useless. You don't want to get this because if you're playing the game right, by the end of every world, you're always going to hit the max level. Like, it's a guarantee. I don't know how the algorithm works on the coin output, because coins dictate how fast you level up. So the harder the enemy is, the faster you'll level up. So I don't know how that algorithm works for that, but you're gonna hit the max level no matter what. So Smart is useless unless there's absolute garbage. In this case, there's not, so we're not going to choose Smart. Attack speed boost, self-explanatory, and that's literally both. So since I'm not getting Smart, that's what I'm going to get. They're the same skill. Attack speed boost increases the speed that you attack. Very beneficial. You want to be successful in this game, you want to choose abilities that are going to either give you more defense so that you can survive attacks if you're not so sure the enemy patterns, so you need more defense, or it's a new world and you're still figuring out the patterns. That's playing defensive, which is the best way. That's how I've beaten the world, is that I've played defensive until I've gotten so comfortable with enemy types and their patterns that I can play a little bit more offensively. But once you're playing more offensively, you want to get moves that are going to help you kill the enemies faster. Obviously, guys, if you don't kill the enemies, you're going to be stuck in the world. So we got bats, and we got mini skeletons, and we got buzzsaws. To avoid the buzzsaws, and I think, yeah, and there was a treasure chest. So to avoid these buzzsaws, just walk along the sides. That's the easiest way to avoid them. So now we have, which is funny, because this is supposed to be one of the first enemies you encounter in the game, and we have yet to encounter it on this run, but the plant, not the piranha plant, but some sort of carnivorous plant that just shoots a bunch of projectiles. They're as annoying, if not more annoying, than the living bombs. Kill them first when you see the smaller versions. They can shoot. They usually hang around behind walls or behind cover, so you have to walk around to be able to hit them. And they can shoot projectiles over the walls, and they're pretty accurate. So if you stand in one spot, you're going to get hit. So you want to take them out. So that carnivorous plant, we need names for these. A glossary would be really beneficial, Archero. That giant carnivorous plant, it has 2 attack patterns. It will shoot out a volley of projectiles, which when you're first encountering it, you're going to get scared. You're going to most usually take damage and get hit. But the more you play this game, you're going to realize it actually follows a pattern. So there's always an opening in that volley. And so you just want to pay attention to it. So the best advice I can give to defeating this boss is keep your distance, because the further you are away from the projectile, the more it opens up so you can have an opening to walk through. That's the first attack that it does. The second attack it does is it shoots a stream of, in diagonal, filling all gaps direction of projectiles. Again, there's actually a pattern here. Now, you just have to be quick enough on your little control to be able to avoid it, but one of the lines doesn't fully come through, or it's juxtaposed to the right or to the left, so that you can actually dodge it. Again, the further you are away, the more time you'll have to react to be able to notice where that little gap is so that you can fit through. That's the best way to avoid them and defeat them. Keep your distance, notice the pattern, there you go. The Devil's Offering, front arrow. Now this is going to get extremely overpowered because we got multi-shot plus front arrow plus 1 plus 2. So now we're going to be doing a lot of damage. It's going to be kind of hard to explain the enemies and for you to see their patterns because I'm probably going to kill them too quick. But I'm going to try my best. So we're going to accept it because I have not taken really any damage that has put me in mortal danger, so there's no reason for me not to take this and to be able to kill enemies faster. But again, you know, your mileage may vary. So now you can see I'm shooting 3 arrows in the front. Multi-shot. It's just a huge stream, a conscious stream of arrows. These enemies in level 1 cannot stand up to this. Now, these are the blue Dooku trees, or wannabe Dooku trees. They shoot a clock. That's the best. A circle of little volleys every time they jump and land. So they're more difficult to avoid compared to the green wannabe Dooku trees, where it's just a cross shape. These shoot in all directions. The further you are away, the easier it is for you to see that pattern and fit through the gaps. As the projectile gets wider, the opening becomes easier to avoid and for you to sweep through, to be able to move through and hit them. If you haven't realized by now, the key to this game is you can't be complacent and stand in one spot. You have to move around. So just be good on your little D-pad, notice the patterns, and don't be stubborn, and you'll be able to beat most of the enemies in this game. So, nothing to say really there. Okay. Now, I've actually never had this setup where I've gotten 2 multi-shots. So I don't know what this is going to do. I'm probably going to go for multi-shot. Attack speed boost is not going to really help me. It's going to shoot more arrows. Rage is extremely beneficial in later games because you're going to be in later worlds, usually at lower health. And what Rage does is it basically compounds your attack power. Now, that will compound on top of attack boost and what your crit damage is. So Rage is really beneficial to get. Because you're going to be nearly dead. And sometimes if you're on that final boss and you only have like 37 health, you're going to be doing like triple damage than if you were at full health. And that will really give you the edge to be able to kill that boss. So go for Rage. when you can, unless there's something better. In this case, multi-shot. That's more damage output. So now with the multi-shot plus the front arrow plus the front arrow, you could say that I'm probably doing quadruple the damage that I was when I first started this world on the first level. So we're going for multi-shot in this case. But usually I would choose range. But multi-shot's just clearly better, so we're going for that. So these are the red ones. The red blobs. They split into 2 green blobs. So they're more dangerous than the golden mini skeletons. And they're also more aggressive to try and get closer to you. Whereas the green-blue blobs just kind of sporadically run around, and they're really a nuisance for you to be able to hit because they're just very avoidant of your arrows. The green ones try and get close to actually hurt you. Or the red ones do. So you want to try and kill them as quick as possible. Split them into the blue-green ones because then they're less aggro. So no new enemies here. That's a great example of why the wall is annoying. And so you want to try and kill the living bombs as quick as possible. From the enemies that we've encountered so far, I would say living bomb should be top priority because they actually do aim for you. And they're very accurate, just like the carnivorous plants. But their bombs are more damaging. So you want to go for living bomb, carnivorous plants, and then like the blue Dooku trees and the green Dooku trees. And then the melee enemies. The rock monsters I don't think are that hard, especially as you see that their pattern is always a diagonal stone throw. So they're not high priority. So angels here, full health, so we're going to choose attack boost minor. Moving on. There's no obstacles in the way, so they instantly just died. Nothing to say there. This is the, I don't even know what you would call that color. A blue with green flare rock monster. So they shoot the diagonal rocks, but it's 5 rocks. So harder to avoid. And they try and actually actively aim for you, but nothing that's not impossible to understand. Buzzsaws in level, avoid it. Carnivorous plants, first time we're actually seeing mini versions of them. So you can see like they actually do try to actively aim for you. So try and kill them. Nothing new there. Moving on. Don't stay in one spot, and you'll be fine. There's a treasure chest, finally get to see it. Dies instantly. No problem. Okay, we're coming up on the next boss. See, this is why I love the boomerang. Piercing shot. No need to get it. All our arrows already automatically pierce, so we saved ourselves on that upgrade. Side arrows. Side arrows is only valuable, in my opinion, when you have bouncy wall. Because most often than not, you're not going to have an enemy too directly to your side unless you're really too close. So I'm not going to opt for side arrows in this case. I'm going to opt for the HP boost because I did trade the HP away to the devil. So I want to start back on my baseline, which was 4,000. Just in case something magical happens and I end up taking a lot of damage and I die. That'd be really embarrassing. But normally I probably get side arrows. So you kind of play it by ear. Like if you've been taking a lot of damage, go for HP boost, be more defensive. It's better for you to be alive than the side arrows, which are just not as effective as the diagonal arrows or front arrows. Because you just clearly can't control where those arrows are going to hit. You can control it more when you have bouncy wall. But again, with boomerang, you don't really want to get bouncy wall because it dilutes the return damage. Okay, so this is the giant blue Dooku tree wannabe. Giant wannabe blue Dooku tree. What this one does is it jumps around and it shoots out the regular clock style circular bullets, but what it also does, and what's starting there, is it shoots out a stream of volley that is actually aiming for you. To avoid it, keep as much distance away, because as the volley ends, it opens up more and you can see the opening, so you can avoid taking damage from there. Also, try and not stay in one spot. When it jumps, it will try and land on you. So versus the other smaller ones where they just jump around, the boss actually jumps where your location is. So do not stand when it jumps, you move. And then it's going to shoot out the circle amount of projectile. Avoid it by moving into a space where the volley is not heading. That's the best way to beat this boss. Okay, so in this case, this is it. And the devil rarely offers extra life. So definitely always try and take it when you can. Because even if you lose 800 health, this is why it's important, you're getting an extra life. So if you have 2,500 HP and you sit and you trade away 800 and you're down at like 17 or 16, no, like 17, you effectively now have 3,400 HP. Because remember, you can then take damage until you die and you'll instantly revive. In this case, I'm not going to trade the HP because there's no chance of me dying, so I'm going to actually reject the offer. But you would normally take this. At least, unless you're really low on HP, then it's not worth taking. But even then, you should, because you're going to instantly revive with full health. Nothing to say there, man. We just kill them too quick. So there is the purple Robin Hoods I was talking about. I took my first damage of the entire game. So their arrows bounce. Avoid their line of sight. No problem. So this is something you wouldn't want to be doing, which is standing in one spot. But since I do so much damage and my arrows essentially cover the screen, and now you can see where I talk about having too much clutter on screen in later levels. Look how many arrows I'm shooting out. It might be kind of hard to figure out which arrows are mine and which are the enemies. So that's where you want to avoid Death Nova, because then it's going to just clutter up the screen too much. You're not going to tell what's going on. But normally you would not stand still and just like let all your arrows fire loose. But since it was the blue blob, I keep saying that. The red blobs, there was no problem. They didn't stand a chance before they could even get close to me. Now, in this case, we have the Death Nova. We're not going to choose it because it's too much screen clutter as it is. The Freeze, what this ability does is it slows down enemies. It does work on bosses, but it's kind of hit or miss on what bosses it works on. On some of the projectile bosses, it actually does work, and I noticed that because sometimes they'll get hit by my arrow and they'll stop their stream of volley, and then they'll restart it. So it's kind of beneficial to have. And I noticed in my own anecdotal research, I don't know if this is a game flaw or if this is meant to be, but it seems like if you have the burn arrow and the freeze arrow, you do more damage. And I don't know if that's because like fire and ice. I don't know. That would be really, smart programming if they kind of included that, like a frozen enemy taking more fire damage kind of thing. But I don't need it. I don't need... The enemies die way too quick as it is. That the freeze is not going to be beneficial. So I would take attack boost in this case. So that I can kill them even faster. So see, living bombs, they come right for you, man. That's why you want to kill them as quick as possible. No new enemies there. Nothing to say. We got the angel coming up right here. Attack speed minor. So see, like they like to hide behind the gates, and they actually do aim for you. And so, just try and get them. Get them as fast as possible. Living bombs and the Carnivorous Plants, they are out to get you. Another level cleared. Okay, now we're coming up on another boss. I took damage from a buzzsaw, which is ridiculous. But I guess it happens. There's nothing to say about this one. It's like the golden skulls. The golden mini skulls, except it's a red skull and it splits into many, many small skulls. They actually are less aggressive than the spider monsters you're going to see later on. They will not actually try and come for you. They just waddle around the screen, but when you start killing them, there's a lot on the screen, so it's almost like they're their own projectiles and they're hard to avoid. Keep your distance, shoot them from afar, move around, and don't get too close, and you should have no problem with that boss. It's one of the easier bosses. So again, he's offering an extra life. I'm not going to take it. There's no chance I'm going to die. I'm 10 levels away from beating it. So nothing new here. Kill living bombs, kill the Carnivorous Plants. Be quick, move quick, you'll do fine. Alright. Rage. Again, I would usually take this, but I'm not going to take any damage where it's actually beneficial. So I'm going to take Crit Master, because I don't need any HP. Crit Master, what it does is it's better than Crit Master Minor. Crit Master Minor increases your crit chance. Crit Master, doubles that chance. So it's really beneficial. See, now you can see, I'm doing a lot of crit damage, which then kills them even quicker. This is no problem. Too easy. We'll take the HP boost, no problem. Golden Skulls, they die instantly. See, level max. So you're always going to hit level max, no matter what. Now, just for fun, I'm going to take the side arrows because I don't need HP. And the next, there's like one level before the boss, and so Death Bomb is not going to do any use. And actually, the bosses are affected by Death Bomb and Death Nova. So when you kill them, they explode and will do damage. But there's nobody else in the room because they're the only creatures usually. So it's useless. But it's funny that they programmed it that it works on the bosses too. So I'm going to take side arrows just so we can show it off and we can just flood the screen with literal arrows. So yeah, now I'm just a death machine over here. So in this game, I'm trying to make this video super comprehensive so that the later videos are not so much of me talking and I can actually be humorous and actually joke with you guys and tell you stories. So I'm making this video super formal and super knowledgeable so that we can just play and you can just watch and you can see my strategy as I dominate this game. But there's scrolls. You get the scrolls and upgrade your weapon. That's about it. So yeah, it's just a giant version of that. Takes more damage. I can't remember if it actually does anything different besides just taking a lot of damage. Oh, I think it spins. It spins and will shoot rocks randomly. But they're pretty easy to see. They're really sizable. So you should have no problem with this boss. Keep your distance, move around. No problem. And that does it. So I'm so high of a level that beating level 1 is obviously not going to move me even a minute amount in leveling up. It was just literally a waste of my energy. Not like wasting my energy making this video. I enjoyed making this video. Even though it might be a little boring. I hope it's not boring for you guys. But I want to be very formally knowledgeable. Formal and knowledgeable. There we go. That's how you talk and speak the English. Yeah, so it had no impact. It's a waste of my energy in-game. That's what I meant to say. And I made nothing in coins. Like, my upgrades cost way too much that this is not doing anything. And my armor is like 40 scrolls to upgrade. And my rings are 40 scrolls to upgrade per. And my boomerang is 50 scrolls. So this really didn't do anything. But, I mean, hey, at least I got something that's usable. Because the gold really isn't going to do much. So, in just like closing of this super formal video, I wanted to again just show my gear and just show what is required for each to be upgraded to. At the rate that I'm going, even for me playing daily, it's going to be a long time before I can actually get legendary gear. So legendary gear happens when you fuse 3 perfect epics into something. So I'm really hoping what would be a real game changer for me in Barons of Shadow would be if I can upgrade my boomerang to a perfect epic. But that's not likely to occur because I have just wanted to confirm. That's not likely to occur because I have 1 purple boomerang. Well, 2 if you count the 1 equipped. And I would need to get 3 blue ones. So if starting from the bottom, I would need 2 grays to make 1 green, and then 2 greens to make 1 blue, and then 2 blues to make 1 purple. And then I can upgrade. My only hope is that every 7 days, or 4 days in my case, I can actually get an obsidian chest and hope that I get lucky and get a purple boomerang, and then I can upgrade it. But yeah, that concludes this video. So next time, we're going to play the second level, where it actually starts getting more difficult and enemies become more challenging. and I can actually have some fun with you guys and actually chat. Because I think Archero is a fun game. But I think a little people need a little help, and I'm here to help. I want to help. I want people to actually see the rest of the game. I want to see the rest of the worlds. They actually release new worlds. This was like the last world, Land of Doom, and now they just added the Capital and Dungeon of Traps. So I'm excited to get to those, but it's pretty hard. So here's the worlds I've gotten to so far, and I can't wait to explain them to you so that you guys can become better players too, and so that I can see when I beat one of these later worlds, 50% of the people have actually beaten this, which means that I know that at least some of my knowledge is helping you guys out and making people better players. So this is Archero. It's a great game. I love it. And we're going to make another video sometime soon. I know, I said that with God of War 2. And there's Mario Party that I have. And Devil May Cry. And Red Dead Redemption. And Breath of the Wild. And what else do I have? Oh my god. Mortal Kombat. Super Smash Brothers. Super Mario. I have so many games and I play them and I don't record. What are you gonna do? Anyway, that's the end of this video. Like this video, subscribe to this video, love this video, share this video, and if there's any tips that you want me to go over so that you can become a better player, let me know in the comments. Really appreciate it. It means a lot in the video. It means a lot to me. I'll read all the comments because I have no comments to read. So, of course, I'm going to read your comments and I'll actually respond. So, that's all I got to say. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you next time.